What happens when a legendary actor sits down for what should be a simple interview, only to be blindsided on national television? That's exactly what unfolded when Samuel L. Jackson appeared on The View, expecting a routine chat only to face a host with a personal agenda. What started as casual promotion turned into a tense confrontation, shaking the show's foundation and leaving Whoopi Goldberg in damage control mode. Jackson arrived with the intention of discussing his latest film. But before the cameras even rolled, Whoopi leaned in with a warning. "Hope you're ready for a real conversation today, not just some fluff." Her tone, though quiet, was sharp. Jackson, no stranger to high-pressure situations, picked up on it immediately. Still, he kept his cool and responded, "I'm always ready." As the show went live, the tension only thickened. Whoopi's intro was laced with veiled jabs highlighting Jackson's age, questioning his relevance, and hinting it might be time to step aside. Jackson calmly responded that he was still here because audiences supported him, but Whoopi pressed harder, implying his iconic roles promoted violence and stereotypes. She asked if he felt a responsibility, as a black actor, to make better choices. That's when Jackson's patience began to fray. "Are you questioning my integrity as a black man and an actor?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. The studio fell silent. Viewers could feel the shift when Whoopi fired back. Jackson snapped, "I've spent my life telling meaningful stories. You want to talk responsibility? Where was this energy when you were doing Sister Act 2? The room froze." Whoopi's face turned red. The confrontation had crossed a line. No one expected it to get that personal, that fast. "We're here to talk about your choices, your career, your impact," the host began. "My impact?" Jackson stood tall, even while seated, his presence commanding. "My impact is 40 years of breaking barriers, proving that a black actor can lead action films, dramas, comedies. I've shown that talent shatters stereotypes, something you clearly forgot." The air in the studio tightened. Cameras rolled, catching every moment. The other hosts looked uncomfortable, shrinking into their chairs. "You don't get to question my career or my commitment," Jackson continued, his voice rising. "You know nothing about the doors I've opened or the young actors I've mentored." But Whoopi wasn't backing down. "I know what I see. And it looks like you're leaning into Hollywood's worst stereotypes." Jackson snapped back, voice edged with fury. "And I see someone who's forgotten her roots. Someone so secure in her seat she tears down others to feel important." Her jaw dropped, caught off guard by the intensity. She hadn't expected him to push back with such force. "How dare you question my dedication to my community?" She fired, her calm TV persona beginning to crack. "I've been fighting for representation before," she started. "Before what?" Jackson interrupted. "Before I took the roles no one else would, the real, complex ones. I am representation." Silence fell over the audience. This wasn't entertainment. It was personal, raw, and escalating. Joy Behar tried to cut. "And maybe we should go to a break?" "No," Jackson said firmly. "I want to know why someone I respected ambushed me on live TV with questions about my character." "I'm not ambushing," Whoopi snapped. "I'm asking what needs to be asked. Hard questions?" Jackson scoffed. "Hard questions are about the craft. What you're doing is character assassination in disguise." That accusation hit hard. Whoopi's face twisted with anger. She pointed at him sharply. "Don't act like a victim," she hissed. "You've made a career out of playing the angry black man. Now you're upset when someone calls it out?" Jackson's eyes narrowed. "Called out by you? Who made you the judge of black actors in Hollywood?" "No one made me," she retorted. "I earned it. I was fighting these battles while you were still doing theater and thinking you were better than everyone. Now, the gloves were off. This wasn't about one film. It was a clash years in the making, so that's what this is." Jackson said, voice low and sharp. "It's about your ego. You feel threatened because I never followed your rules." Whoopi stood, furious. "Threatened by you? I've won every award, Oscar, Emmy, Grammy, Tony. What would I possibly be threatened by?" Jackson stayed seated, composed. "By the fact that I built this career on my own terms without kissing up, without playing your political games?" And after 40 years, I'm still here, still working. Still relevant without needing to tear others down just to feel important, Jackson said. The room fell silent. Even the technical crew had frozen, captivated by the tension unraveling live. The host looked uncomfortable, caught in the middle of a battle they didn't see coming. You think you're better than everyone, don't you? Whoopi shot back, her voice quivering. You act like you're untouchable, like your image is too perfect to question. My reputation speaks for itself, Jackson responded calmly. I don't need to diminish others. I've built my career on respect, not theatrics, Whoopi scoffed. Respect? You ignore your peers, act superior, and treat events like they're beneath you? Jackson stood, his posture commanding. I call that protecting my dignity. Staying above the politics and backstabbing you seem to enjoy. If that looks distant to you, so be it. Politics? Whoopi's voice cracked. You mean speaking out for better representation? For black actors? I call that Tuesday, Jackson said coldly. I just don't need applause to do the right thing. I do it quietly because it matters, not for attention. Whoopi flinched. Her words faltered, then surged back with fury. You think you're flawless? I know about your outbursts, the directors who won't work with you, the co-stars who avoid you. Jackson's face remained calm, but his tone sharpened. And where did you hear that? From the same people coaching you through this attack? Caught off guard, Whoopi hesitated. I don't know what you mean. You do. Someone's feeding you this drama, pushing you to ambush me. Why are you letting them use you? I'm not being used, she insisted. These are my real concerns. Really? After all these years of silence, you picked today on camera to voice them? Sounds convenient, Jackson said. We've crossed paths for years, and you've never brought this up until now. The hosts watched in stunned silence. This wasn't just heated conversation. It was a full-blown confrontation playing out live. I've always had these feelings. Whoopi muttered, but her earlier fire had dimmed. I just never had the platform. You've had this platform every day, Jackson challenged. So why today? Why now, when I'm promoting a film, do you suddenly decide to make it personal? Sarah Haynes finally broke in. Maybe we should take a break. No, Jackson cut her off, eyes fixed on Whoopi. I want to know why someone I respected, someone I thought I knew, chose to attack me on national television. Whoopi's breathing grew. Heavier, her chest rising and falling as she struggled to stay composed. You want to know why? I'm tired of watching you coast on your name while better, younger actors get ignored. Hollywood keeps handing you roles that should go to fresh talent. Younger talent like who? Jackson asked sharply. Name. Them. Tell me who deserves my roles and why they're more qualified. The challenge caught Whoopi off guard. She opened her mouth but couldn't answer. She hadn't expected to be confronted like this, hadn't thought Jackson would demand specifics. That's what I thought. He said calmly, this isn't about fairness or opportunity. This is about you, your personal problem with me. Don't have a problem with you, Whoopi said, but her voice was losing its strength. Then explain this. Jackson gestured at the studio. Why ambush me on Live TV? Why spend the last 20 minutes trying to tear me down? If this isn't personal, then what is it? Whoopi looked around as if waking up to the reality. The cameras were still rolling, capturing every moment. The audience looked stunned, even disappointed. Her co-hosts avoided eye contact. She had no graceful exit. I just think actors like you should use their influence more wisely, she mumbled. And who made you the judge of how I use my influence? Jackson pushed. What gives you the authority to question my career or my choices? Each question landed hard. Whoopi had come in ready to expose Jackson's flaws, but now she was the one being exposed, dismantled by someone used to defending himself under pressure. The silence in the room thickened. Jackson's words hovered like a storm cloud when Whoopi finally responded. Her tone had shifted quieter, but laced with bitterness. Your problem, Samuel, is you think you're above criticism? That success and money make you untouchable? Jackson shook his head. No, I just believe criticism should be fair and fact-based. This isn't criticism, it's a hit job. Hit job? Whoopi's voice cracked. I'm asking valid questions about your work, what messages you're putting out. Valid? Jackson finally raised his voice. You questioned if I'm too old to act, attacked my role choices, and implied I'm hurting young black men. And you call that valid? The audience murmured some disapproving, others riveted by the unfolding drama. I call it accountability, Whoopi said, but her voice had no weight. Accountable to you? Jackson laughed coldly. I answer to my family, my craft, and my audience, not to someone projecting personal frustrations under the guise of journalism. Sonny Hostin tried to cut in, hoping to shift gears. Maybe we can move on to something more positive. No, Jackson said, raising a hand. I'm finishing this. People need to know what really happened here. He turned back to Whoopi, eyes burning with restrained anger. You didn't bring me here to discuss my work. You brought me here to take me down, and you thought I'd sit back and let it happen. I wanted an honest conversation, Whoopi argued, voice trembling. Honest? Jackson leaned in, voice low and sharp. There's been nothing honest here, not your questions, not your intent, not even the reason for this interview. Samuel slowly unhooked the mic from his jacket, his movements calm but deliberate. The message was clear, he was done. Joy Behar tried to de-escalate. Let's just take a step back, she said. But Jackson wasn't having it. There's no stepping back from this, he replied. His eyes locked on Whoopi. What happened here crossed a line, he said firmly. This wasn't a show, it was an ambush meant to humiliate me. Whoopi tried to salvage things. You don't have to leave. We can finish the interview. Jackson stood, dropping the mic onto the chair. How do you finish something that was never genuine? How do you talk with someone who came to attack while pretending to be hospitable? The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second. Jackson adjusted his jacket with dignity. I've been in this industry 40 years, he said. I've faced tough directors and hostile press, but never this level of disrespect. Whoopi, flustered, snapped. This is just a conversation between colleagues. He turned back. Colleagues? Don't ambush each other. Colleagues don't settle scores on national TV. He paused before leaving. You know what hurts? I respected you, your work, your voice. I thought we were friends. We are, Whoopi said weakly. This doesn't have to end like this. It already did, he replied. When you made me the villain in your narrative, the room was frozen. Even the crew stopped moving. I hope whatever you were trying to achieve was worth it, Jackson continued. You ruined our relationship and embarrassed yourself for. What? Please, Whoopi whispered. Please stay. Please pretend this didn't happen. I have too much self-respect for that, Jackson said, walking away. In a last attempt, Whoopi raised her voice. This is exactly what I mean. You can't take criticism. You're proving my point. Jackson turned, voice calm but cutting. No, I'm proving I know the difference between criticism and character assassination. And I won't sit here to be degraded for your ego. Sometimes walking away is the only sane choice. Silence fell. Whoopi opened her mouth but said nothing. She had expected a breakdown, a meltdown, something that would make him look bad. But Jackson stayed composed and exposed the situation instead. This interview is over, he declared. Not because I can't handle questions, but because I won't tolerate this kind of unprofessionalism. He left the set. The cameras caught Whoopi's stunned face and the awkward stillness that followed. The co-host didn't know what to say. The audience sat in shock. At home, millions were rewinding, replaying, sharing. Whoopi had hoped to corner him, but in the end, she only revealed her own agenda. Jackson didn't crumble. He walked away. With grace, while she sat there with the weight of her choices. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. So what do you think? Did Samuel L. Jackson do the right thing by walking off The View, or should he have stayed and finished it out? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes truth bombs from Hollywood's most intense moments.